Good morning, everyone. It's February 2nd, 2019. I'm here at the Free Thought Project. There's a couple here on the Free Thought Project we're going to get to in this video, and one here. Probably not going to do the whole articles, but you're going to see a little pattern here, and hopefully you enjoy. The reason why I focus on cops so much is because they are where the rubber hits the road. They are the guys, the people who will show up your door to confiscate your weapons, steal your property, and maybe even kidnap, cage, or murder you in the name of rule of law or some other kind of bullshit. So in Martin County, Florida, Matt Kroll was incarcerated for nearly 6 weeks after a cop mistook his Tide laundry detergent for heroin. He spent Christmas and New Year's in the cage because Martin County Sheriff's Deputy Stephen O'Leary couldn't have cared less about due diligence when robbing people of their freedom over random substances using faulty filled drug test kits. And by the way, those filled test kits, they have a lot of false positives. They're not reliable. So Kroll was asleep in his van, and the police called his van suspicion, and they proceeded to rip his van apart. Then a deputy came back and told Kroll that he found a massive bag of heroin. And Kroll was baffled. He had no idea where 92 grams of heroin came from. The cop ends up showing him a picture of a field test kit that he supposedly conducted on his phone, which he never did. If he actually tested the substance, it would have came back negative unless it was a faulty test, right? And he spent many weeks in jail, and in his words, it's very surreal when you're sitting in jail with a $500,000 bond, Kroll told WPBF 25, and you can't go anywhere knowing you didn't do wrong. About 41 days of his life stolen, he ended up being released. But Martin County Sheriff William Schneider attempted to distance himself from O'Leary as if the department's policies weren't the problem, and O'Leary was an anomaly. In quotes, no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, just based on the law of possibilities, there's always a possibility that one bad apple will slip through, Schneider said. One bad apple, huh? What about this dude here? Is he one of those bad apples that just slips through? Body cam cop catches cops claim innocent man's cell phone was a gun and shot him? Is that what you mean? Then over here, these guys, cops brag about 6 months undercover sting to seize glass pipes. And the thing about that is these glass pipes were sitting right in the middle of the store in a glass case. And they were really proud of themselves. Really proud. And this happened in Swain County, North Carolina. The Free Thought Project has reported on some utterly ridiculous wastes of taxpayer dollars so police can lock people up for tiny amounts of weed or some other victimless crime. Police once spent tens of thousands of dollars undercover at a Burger King to make a $75 pot bust. Yeah. Last week, North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation concluded a 6-month-long joint undercover sting operation with the Bryson County Police Department and North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement to bust a gas station for selling glass pipes. Their entire mission for 6 months was to stake out a single gas station who had a glass display case which contained the pipes. At the end of the 6-month-long undercover operation conducted by multiple state agencies, police made no arrests and simply seized the glass pipes. What's more, these drug warriors then went to Facebook to brag, and their insanity and gloat on the fact that they wasted taxpayer dollars for 6 months on a undercover operation that netted them a bunch of glass. So, these agencies are utter wastes of your money. They don't curtail the inflow of drugs. How can they do that when it's the government themselves bringing the drugs in? How can they do that? I mean, most of the drugs aren't coming from the southern border. Most of them are coming from municipal airports and military bases. But somehow, these guys think, or not, they're doing anyone any good. They're not. All they're doing is destroying families. So, it's true, these were entirely legal glass when shaped into a device that can be used to put weed in for smoking it. It is illegal in the state if marked for actual drugs. However, head shops and gas stations have long sold the pipes as tobacco pipes as a way of getting around the state's ridiculous ban on paraphernalia. Apparently, authorities were attempting to catch the store selling these glass pipes for something other than tobacco. Tens of thousands of dollars wasted. Just gone. And some of the commenters had some real sobering comments. For example, this one. How many rape kits were ignored just so you could waste money doing this? How's it going to take 6 months to find that display shelf? Civil asset forfeiture pays. Busting low-level drug dealers by the dozen and confiscating their drugs, guns, cars, houses, and money pays. Writing tickets for victimless crimes pays. Pulling you over for window tint, seatbelts, arbitrary traveling speeds, and expired license plates, these are the things that pay. Solving murders do not. However, as the drug war toned down slightly with the decriminalization of marijuana, the department was miraculously able to funnel more resources and dedicate more officers towards solving murders. And they are referring to, I believe, Boston. Boston decriminalized marijuana and instead focused on the homicides. And their homicide solve increased. In the United States, the murder clearance rate in 1965 was more than 90%. Since the inception of the drug war, the murder clearance rate has plummeted to an average of less than 65% per year. So, if you want to be a serial killer, you'll get away with it because most of the country is too busy chasing the drugs around our government brings in This decline is in spite of there being far fewer murders. It is also in spite of new technological developments to help police solve crimes like DNA testing, advanced forensic labs, and unethical spying devices like the Stingray. I'm going to tell you right now, if a person is savvy to their techniques, let's say you spent a few years watching forensic files and these kind of crime shows, it gives you a pretty good idea what they look for, right? So what do? You don't leave DNA. You wear a hat so your hair don't fall off. You wear gloves, this kind of thing. And these modern day techniques mean precisely dick. Despite the near complete erosion of the constitutional protections against unlawful search and seizures, the clearance rate for murder continued its free fall. This highlights the fact that no matter how many rights are given up or freedoms diminished, police cannot guarantee your safety, and all this is due to the war on drugs. And then over here, one of the worst states for asset forfeiture is South Carolina. I know this personally, as I got busted with a little bit of weed and lost about $20,000 in property. Some AR-15s, some SKS, a .22 rifle, money, you name it. I mean, the cops fucking stole a bunch of shit from me. But what's even more shocking about my asset forfeiture, is because I actually had weed, is some of these instances where people had no charges against them and still lost their cash. This guy lost his cash over an ounce of weed when a man barged into Isaiah Kinlock's apartment and broke a bottle over his head. The North Charleston resident called 911. After cops arrived on that day in 2015, they searched the injured man's home and found 1 ounce of marijuana. So they took $1,800 in cash from his apartment and naturally kept it. When Eamon Cools was driving on Interstate 85 in Spartanburg County, which is where I live, deputies stopped him for speeding. The Atlanta businessman wasn't criminally charged in the April 2016 incident. Deputies discovered $29,000 in his car, and naturally they decided to take it, even without proof that this guy was doing nothing wrong. And your president, Donald Trump, he supports the theft of asset forfeiture without due process. And this is without due process. When Brandy Cook dropped her friend off at a Myrtle Beach sports bar as a favor, drug enforcement agents swarmed her car in the parking lot and found $4,670 in the car. Her friend was wanted in a drug distribution case, but Cook wasn't involved. She had no drugs, and she was never charged in the 2014 bust. Agents seized her money anyway. She worked as a waitress and carried cash because she didn't have a checking account. She spent more than a year trying to get her money back. Cash is king in South Carolina. And that's why most of the people in South Carolina end up on probation. I'm supposed to be on probation, but I'm going to tell you, I have not seen or heard from any of them people in months. Of course, they do give you an IQ test when you first get in there. You do your enrollment shit. You have to take this long-ass IQ test. And I suppose if you score high enough on this test, they just leave you alone, which is what happened with me. But nonetheless, these people, they're out They're not out to solve crimes. They're out to kill you and steal your property, including your children. I know firsthand because it's happened to me. Over a plant, okay? A plant. And prescriptions that were mine. The bottle had my name on it. So, and we lost well over $10,000 in property. Thousands of rounds of ammunition. The only thing they didn't take was my gas masks and food. Everything else, all the weapons, well, they did miss 2 of them, but they're not here now. I'm not going to give them the chance to get my other weapons. This is a state where county sheriffs run week-long events with cool names like Rolling Thunder and claim they're disrupting the flow of drugs. The reality is there's no disruption. People are separated from their cash and their other property, but arrests and convictions are almost impossible to find. Despite this, the discovery of a few hundred pounds of illegal substances, in 2017, the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Department pulled over more than 1,100 vehicles during an operation, searched 158 of them, recovered enough drugs to fill a table for a press conference, but only ended up with 8 felony convictions, and did end up with $139,000 in cash. So they had to steal a lot of this cash from people who did nothing wrong. Especially considering they only ended up with 8 felony convictions out of 158 searches. But these are your heroes. These are the guys that President Trump is constantly fucking praising. He is a thief himself. Anyway, I thought I would share this with you. I got a couple more to make here. And I hope everyone has a great day. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.